Good morning to one and all. So we'll start the 7th chapter in biology, diversity in living organism. So basically, what do you mean by diversity in living organism? So diversity means types of living organisms. So we come across many living organisms around us. So if you only classify them in terms of plants and animals, so we have many animals or we have different form of animals, right from a small creature to a bigger one. Similarly, in plants, right from the plants which grow in water, on land, and right from the smallest one, so right from the simplest one to the complex one. So we need to understand or we need to bifurcate these plants or these living organisms which fall under different category. Now, why we have to learn this? Why we have to learn diversity or diversify them? Only because, now simple, we have so many pet animals at home, right? We know which are the pet animals and which are the wild animals. We have bifurcated them, diversified them in terms of pet animals and wild animals. Similarly, even in plants, we know which plants are good or which plants are medicinal use, which plants are poisonous. So we need to learn about these plants and animals for our better use. So diversity is nothing but types of living organisms which live around us. But why we should classify them? The main reason or to understand why we have to classify, because now even today when we go to a medical store to buy medicines, medicines are classified according to the not symptoms or not according to the diseases. They are always classified alphabetically so that it is easy for the person to just pick a particular medicine and give. Similarly here, if we classify the animals based on their cell or based on their food type or based on their habitat, it will be easy for us to learn about those living organisms. So, let us first understand what is classification. The method of arranging organisms into groups on the basis of similarities and differences is called classification. Now, the method of arranging organisms into groups on the basis of similarities and differences. Now, see, when we talk about similarity and differences, now let us take we human beings. So how do I identify between human beings? What similarity do I find in them? So we have 2 legs, 2 hands, ears, right? Now that means even if I compare to a chimpanzee, similarities when I look for 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 ears. So again, what similarities are the same? So are chimpanzees and we equal? Now there again we check for the differences, right? Similarities, we arrange them into groups on basis of similarities and differences. It is not that we all living or all animals which have 2 ears, hands and legs will fall in one category. We need to check their similarities as well as we need to check their differences. Now what differences it could be, we will understand here. Now for example, if you look at plants, when you compare them similarity wise, yes, all are green plants. Now how do we find the differences in them? We bifurcate in them in terms of photosynthetic plant and non-photosynthetic plant, correct? Now even in animals, we have so many bifurcations. So herbivorous, carnivorous, some simple, I gave you just basic examples here between similarity and differences. So classification is the method of arranging organisms into groups on the basis of similarities and differences is called classification. So, a branch of biology which deals with this identification, nomenclature or classification of organism is called as taxonomy. So, we say taxonomy is a branch of science which deals with the study of nomenclature, identification and classifying those organisms is called as taxonomy. So when you study taxonomy, that means you are studying in depth about this part. So Carolus Linnaeus was called as father of taxonomy. So he gave the name as taxonomy, which comes under all classification, identification. How do you name them? Are they primitive organisms? etc. Now, why do we, or why is it important to understand this classification, or why should we study classification? Why we have to classify them? So classification is so very important because it gives us the systematic manner, or it gives us the systematic understanding about the living organisms which falls under which category. Systematic manner in the sense, now we know which are the plant, or we first of all we bifurcate living organism in terms of plants and animals. Further bifurcation, how it goes, we again can check which are photosynthetic, non-photosynthetic. In terms of animals, we can check which are eukaryotes, prokaryotes, or we can check which are unicellular or multicellular, right? Which can prepare the own food, which cannot prepare the own food, which are autotrophs, which are heterotrophs. So it gives us the systematic manner of understanding the living organisms. Next, we understand from where did the living organism evolve, right? That is about evolution. How did the living organism come into existence? What changes it had to take place to change from one form to another from millions of years, right? Interrelationship. So how are these organisms interrelated to each other? Biological science. Now, what do you mean by biological science? It helps us to understand the nature better. How are they interdependent in terms of biological science? So, classification is very important to understand the organisms, living organisms better, because we come to know that in which category they fall. Now, we'll move on to the next one, hierarchy of classification. Now, basically, what do you mean by hierarchy? Now, when we talk about hierarchy of a family, when we talk about. So, if I want to talk about hierarchy of my family, from where do I start? I start from my ancestors, my great grandparents, then my grandparents, father, mother, their children, their younger ones, right? That is how we give a hierarchy of our family. Now, similarly, if you want to give a hierarchy of this organisms, they define that as a system of arrangement of classification in which organisms are placed in order of logical sequence, right? I gave you the meaning of hierarchy. This is the definition of hierarchy. Organisms which are placed in order of logical sequence. Now, logical sequence means what? Increasing order, decreasing order. How do I talk about the hierarchy of my family? Do I start from the younger kids? No, I start from my grandparents, then my parents, then mother, father, siblings, their kids, right? Similarly, it goes in a sequential order. So now what is the order? It is about kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. Now, what happens here is, when we talk about the kingdom is at the top level of the organisms, or what we can say is, kingdom is in the top level of the organisms. That means it has more number of organisms here, right? Many are there, which is at the top. That means there are many organisms in the kingdom level. So I will just write here large, or there are many organisms in the kingdom level. Since there are many organisms in the kingdom level, the similarities is very less. So I will just write here less similarities. Okay. Now for example, in kingdom level, if I tell that we animals will come in that. So how do I check? How do I categorize animals? Like for example, humans. If I take an example, 2 ears, then 2 hands, 2 legs, we can walk, right? So if I just come across any other animal in that case, I bifurcate them in terms of animals, or I put them in terms of one category. So what happens in the kingdom level? There are large number of organisms and there are very less similarities. As we go down here, as we go down the hierarchical order, what happens is the organism number starts decreasing and similarities starts increasing. That means for example, if I come to species, in species there are very few organisms, very less. But I have much comparison with respect to kingdom level. Much comparison means the similarities. What I find many differences and similarities what I have in species level than kingdom level. So one thing what you have to understand about this hierarchy system is the topmost is the kingdom level of organisms, where the number of organisms are in large in number. Similarities among them is very less. As we go down the hierarchical level, the number of organisms starts decreasing, very less, and the similarities among them, we have many things to check. Like here, if I have to check only about, for example, we come to know organisms have 2 ears, 2 hands and 2 legs. We classify them in terms of humans. Example, when I go to species level, I need to check so many things. I need to check how many cells, unicellular, multicellular, food habit, reproduction parts, so many things I need to check in the species level. Whereas in kingdom, we do not check many, right? Now, in this hierarchical level, we do not study each and every level in detail in your syllabus. We do that in your higher classes. Why? Because suppose, for example, if I take a human being, I should know a human being belongs to which kingdom, which phylum, which class, order, family, genus and species, right? So this class of studying, this kingdom or this classification of this hierarchical level, we do not study in 9th standard. We only understand in a kingdom level classification how the animals or how the organisms are classified. But we should know what is hierarchy of classification and how the classification is done. So if there is a question, which is the most highest form of classification in a hierarchical level, always comes the kingdom. Which is the lowest form in the hierarchical classification? There comes the species, because it is primitive, very less organisms which are there in this, right? So there were many biologists like Ernst Haeckel, Carl Linnaeus or Robert Whittaker who gave the hierarchical classification of these organisms. But later these scientists gave about the classification of a kingdom. You can say 2 kingdom classification, 3 kingdom classification, 4 kingdom, and finally they came to a conclusion of about 5 kingdom classification. Now initially when I spoke about the classification of kingdom was done in 2 kingdom classification. How was that classification done? 2 kingdom classification was on terms of animals and plants. But if I only classify all plants in one kingdom and all animals in one kingdom, will that be enough to understand their classification? No, because in plants we again have most primitive plant, that is simple to complex. We have there we have the plants which are not photosynthetic and which are photosynthetic. Animals, when I go, there also we have again eukaryotes and prokaryotes. Under eukaryotes we have unicellular. Under prokaryotes we also have unicellular as well as multicellular. There again we have a different classification, right? So 2 kingdom, 3 kingdom was a initial proposed classification. Later we came to a 5 kingdom classification. Now let us see what is this 5 kingdom classification gave by biologist Robert Whittaker. So Robert Whittaker gave the 5 kingdom classification. So we classified in them in terms of, they are called as, first one Monera, second is Protista, third fungi, fourth Plantae and fifth Animalia. So it is actually plant and animal, but in the kingdom classification we call them as Plantae and Animalia. So let us understand this classification much better. So we know that organisms are broadly classified in terms of prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Now we have studied about prokaryotes and eukaryotes in our previous lesson. So just to recall, what are prokaryotes? Prokaryotes are the most primitive organism which do not have well-defined nucleus, and eukaryotes are which have well-defined membrane-bound nucleus, what we call. So what comes under prokaryotes? Or unicellular organisms comes under prokaryotes. But under eukaryotes also we have some unicellular and multicellular. That means unicellular are the single celled organisms. We all know that. Unicellular organisms will fall under prokaryotes. But there are some unicellular organisms also which comes under eukaryotes because they have a well-defined nucleus. Yes? So under prokaryotes, under unicellular organisms, that is first one we study about Monera. So Monera comes under unicellular organisms. Now when we move to eukaryotes, that is which have a well-defined nucleus, there again we bifurcate in them in terms of unicellular and multicellular. In unicellular, example is, or we study about Protista, right? In multicellular, we again have two classification, with cell wall and without cell wall. Now when we talk about with cell wall, we all know that when we differentiated between a plant cell and an animal cell, we understood one difference there. Plant cell or a plant have a cell wall where we can say cell wall is present in plants wherein cell wall is absent in animals. We understood this in difference between plant cell and animal cell. So in multicellular when we talk about, we again divide them in terms with cell wall and without cell wall. Now when we talk about with cell wall, again in plants which do not perform photosynthesis, There are few plants which do not prepare their own food. They are not photosynthetic. There are plants which perform photosynthesis. Again, simple plants and complex plants. So here which do not perform photosynthesis is the third one, that is fungi. We study about that. Which perform photosynthesis come under Plantae group. I have not given any examples here because we study that in our next class when we study in detail about these kingdoms. Now, the next last one, without cell wall. It comes under animal, that is last one, Animalia. So this is how the classification of organism is done. Based on prokaryotes and eukaryotes, he broadly divided them, and the 5 kingdom classification, Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. We will be studying about each of these kingdom detailed from our next class. So in today's class, if you have any doubt, you can call on the same day of the video set. Thank you.